Yeah, man. Um, Still talking about basketball. Uh, Caitlin Clark, man. Caitlin Clark is now 4 games into the to her NBA WNBA career. Excuse me. She's now 4 games into her WNBA career, averaging 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, as well as 6.5 turnovers, and averaging just below 1 block and 1 steal. Um, for casual fans who may have just picked up on Caitlin Clark in college and you rarely, if any, watch any type of basketball outside of her, you probably trying to like figure out like, oh, like what's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say she's gonna be like doing what she's doing in college in the in the WNBA. Uh, Great news. She's still playing in the WNBA the same way she played in college, which is great to see. She's not changing her game at all. I love to see that. Uh, the bad news is the team is not that great. Not breaking news. We all know that. That's always the
I
situation.
ain't
There's a
blaming
number
it on
one.
the team.
That's always where a number one draft pick is going to a sorry team.
Hmm.
But here's what I've been thinking about, right? Um, Caitlin Clark is great. And I feel like as we talk about what she means to the WNBA, being the face of not just the Fever, but developing, if not already, being the face of the WNBA, that new crowd, those new fans that she has brought to the WNBA, setting a record in her WNBA debut, 2.1 million viewers for the WNBA game, which is the most in 20 plus years, which was more than how many people watched the WNBA finals last year. I don't know how many of those how the percentage of the new audience that the WNBA has. I don't know how long they stick around if Caitlin Clark is losing for too long. I think they give her grace and they stick around for her rookie year, but if there's not an immediate like uptick or like playoff hopeful within next year or the third year, I think that viewership and I think that hype dies out. We start to see that viewership go back down to normal because what elevated Caitlin Clark on top of her greatness is that she was winning. There's a lot of players who are great, but they don't necessarily they can't translate that into winning because of whether it's their team or whatever the case may be. But obviously, Caitlin Clark was dominant enough at the college ranks to where her talent was so far and superior that she could drag her teammates to victory. WNBA, total different story. You playing against way greater talent than you were at the college level, and I just like I'm watching them play, and obviously you see
She
her.
just looks less athletic than everybody, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. And people like to compare her, obviously, to Steph Curry. Let let us remind you that Steph Curry was, and then people are gonna point to, but oh, Caitlin moves great off the ball, just like Steph.
Oh, she.
Yeah, a little different though. I'll tell you why. So Steph could actually break people down off the dribble and get to his own shot. Not saying that Caitlin can't,
She could do
but
that at the college level.
college level, right? But when she's trying to get to that and be that prowess on the perimeter on the WNBA level, oftentimes and not, I'm seeing these ladies take the challenge personally, i.e. Dejanay Carrington for the Connecticut Suns, man. Um, you want to talk
Clamps.
about taking a challenge extremely personal, man? People are not,
Handcuffs.
people are not gonna let you come to the league and think you about to do the same thing you did to the Big Ten or the Big East when you were in college. This ain't that.
You are
This ain't
not.
no,
You are not about to Haley Van Leet the WNBA. It's not happening.
not even close. Not even close.
I agree with you, Izzo, and I agree with your sentiments, right? And the thing about this is what makes Steph great to me. It's not solely what he could do with the ball in his hand. it's the system that he's in that allows him to move without the ball, that makes him a catch and shoot sniper. You have to pay it. Some would argue Steph is more dangerous without the ball than he is with the ball, because at least with the ball
Absolutely.
you could pay attention to him a little bit more. You know where he's attacking you from, but off the ball you kind of at his mercy and whatever screen he's running off of, right? Fever head coach, you have to find a way to make her lethal like Stephen Curry off the ball. Because if you're gonna sit there and try to just pick and roll her to death with whoever with Nalissa Smith or Asia Boston, she's not gonna be as effective as she can be if she always got the ball in her hand. Like you said, teams are gonna take that matchup personal. Sometimes they guard her before she even touched the ball. She got to swing it over to Erica Wheeler or Kelsey Mitchell to be like, "Hey, y'all bring
I
up the ball."
wanna point out something though. With us heaping praise on Steph Curry and being a little critical of Caitlin Clark, I really think it goes to show like how pivotal and don't call me crazy for this, but I think it really shows how pivotal Draymond Green is to the success overall of the Warriors, and a direct correlation in regards to Steph being better on the court when Draymond Green is there, because we want to equate Caitlin Clark to Steph Curry so bad, but when I go look at the Indiana Fever, I don't see a Draymond Green on that team. I don't see another Klay Thompson on that team that's allowing the space for a system like that to even go forth. I don't see a playmaking forward that can run the break and who's locked down defensively in their prime, um, and gives the ability for Steph to get off of the ball and to, do all of the movement things that make him Steph Curry, right? So I think it's number one. I think you got to give Draymond Green his flowers in that regard, because they made it look easy, man, for years. And when you look back at it in retrospect, man, that ain't gonna be duplicated. Another Draymond Green ain't gonna come out of the draft, right? You damn sure ain't finna get another Steph Curry. You surely not gonna get another Klay Thompson, right? I think it's just a really rare instance where, you know, Steve Kerr knew what he had. Shout out to Mark Jackson. He knew what he had. Um, and they tailored it, to a hand fit glove in order for those players to be successful. So I just don't I don't see them with a player of Draymond Green's IQ that's gonna have that the coach is gonna trust in order to be like, hey, we need Kalen off the ball in order to, run around and get open. And that's where the athleticism comes in, right? Like, do you have the quickness to get off of screens? Do you have the agility, the elusiveness to be as sly and slick and swift as Curry is with the
Yeah,
quick trigger release in regards to having the offense still flow and you not be so ball dominant to where you're averaging almost 7 turnovers a game, right? Like, because that's
yeah,
unheard of. That's
yeah.
not sustainable.
Yeah, that's not sustainable. Sean Hart is on surgical picks. If you're averaging 6 turnovers a game, it may want to take the under on the fantasy. But
Kalen is a little but
it's
yeah, I ain't gonna lie, 7 turnovers, man. You want to talk about
it
can
can
kill
kill
an
a
over
lot.
so quick?
Can kill a lion, man. That's taking 10 points away. Like, but
Can you hear me?
go ahead, Jason. My bad.
My bad. Am I coming in delayed? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We got you now.
10-4. My question is, do we believe that Steph Curry's game made Draymond Green and Klay better, or do we believe that Draymond Green and Klay lifted Steph's game a little bit?
I think it was. I'm gonna
Because
try.
that with Stephen Curry running literally a quarter a mile every possession, it makes it easier for Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, in my mind, versus the other way around. I could be mistaken, so that's why I'm asking. Because if Caitlin Clark could run as much as Steph ran off the ball, right, and her coach actually puts in the sets the way it's supposed to go, comes up with plays, she, why could she not be as dynamic? Not as dynamic as Steph, but you know what I'm saying? Why couldn't she be?
I think she got the shooting capability to be just as dynamic as Stephen Curry. I think it's just a matter of one, coach Sides, the Fever head coach, implementing that type of system, and then
They getting her out of there after this season because they're gonna have to bring in Geno Atkins or somebody. They're gonna have to bring in Becky Hammond. They're gonna have to bring in
Yeah,
somebody.
man. Like I think and I'm speaking from a perspective. I believe Kaylin is already trending in a direction to be a star. Now we talk about Saper global mega superstar like she was in college. I think that type of Stephen Curry system has to be implemented to unlock her to that superstardom for her to be effective in the WNBA, long everlasting. That's all I'm saying. Like she gonna average her 20. I was liking her around 15 to 17 this year, just depending on how she may struggle or not, against defenses. And here's another thing too. So giving her flowers, Kaylin, I respect the fact that she's a hooper at heart. And simply what I mean by that is like she's competitive and she isn't going to settle for like having a bad game. Case in point, had the abysmal game against the New York Liberty, and it's like, oh, they cracked the code, they figured it out, whatever, so on and so forth. But that very next game, when they had to play them again, she came back with a different approach and dropped 20. And so to me, that showed fighting her. That showed I'm not quitting, I'm not folding. That showed I'm gonna figure this out one way or the other. Cool bet. All right, I had 8 points, but I'm gonna come back. And so I thought that said a lot just about her heart, her character as a hooper. As we get to see her go through adversity at this level,
Good basketball character.
1010%. But the original question: if the Fever don't start winning, let's say within the next 3 years, if the Fever don't start winning within the next
3 years,
do we expect the Caitlyn viewership to still stay at a high level if the Fever are losing?
Brother, here to break it to you. You got this year. People's attention spans is short. Now, people love a good story. They love a good hero story, but they also love a good downfall, right?
I think she get grace for her rookie season debut.
She got 2 years tops.
2 years.
2 tops. And I'm saying 2 generously, like I need to see her turn the corner halfway, at least halfway through the season. Like if I don't, you know what I mean? Like it needs to start equating to wins. And again, this could be a product of coaching because we've seen an inability to coach that could really hold players back.
I'm gonna bring another question to y'all, but I want you to answer too, Dacius. If they're not winning in the next 2 to 3 years, do you think the viewership still stays high for the WNBA? If the Fever aren't winning within the next 2 to 3 years, does the viewership stay high for the WNBA?
No.
No. Yeah, I don't. I think it goes back to the casuals who, like myself, who just like genuinely love hoop and watching hoop. Like if Caitlyn isn't there, that's why when I had made that text, I was like, Caitlyn game winner. I was like, that may make them views go up if y'all get her to rock for a game winner.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, buddy. Don't know what you watching. Ain't happening.
But in talking about them winning, and if they aren't winning, is the viewership gonna stay there? My next question around this situation is, will Caitlin Clark's game transcend enough that it could translate to wins? She, continue to help make people better. Because like I said, she's playing the same way, making all the same passes or whatever. Just gonna take time and chemistry with her new teammates. Will her game, kind of how LeBron was able to drag teams to the finals? Can we foresee Caitlyn's game being something like that, or will she eventually have to? That was the best analogy I had for you. Relax.
We gotta just we take LeBron for granted, man.
I don't. I'm not saying it like it was easy. I'm just saying like with Caitlin Clark's game.
We saying drag bumps to the finals like that's just normal stuff.
Will Caitlin Clark's game solely be enough to start turning around the Fever's organization into wins, or will she eventually have to leave the Fever to win? I know it's too early, but just for the sake of debate, do we think she'll eventually have to leave if they not winning in the next 2-3 years and her contract up? And like again, what made her great is she was winning in college. Like winning,
I ain't gonna lie,
winning
as much as she
sales.
won in college, she never won in college. So the whole idea that, oh yeah, she's a winner, she's this and that. Yeah. LeBron wasn't labeled as a winner for making so many finals appearances and like, oh wow, LeBron's really a winner. He was looked at, man, you bum, you can't win it. Come on, these are the things that were said. It's a matter of fact league. Either you do it or you don't. We don't give kudos for coming close unless your name is not LeBron James, because apparently a lot of that is going around. I don't
Apparently
see
that's
people
acceptable.
I don't see people bad mouthing Jokic for them letting go of the rope on a 20-point lead in a closeout game 7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you see Jokic, he had 42. Oh, well, it wasn't his fault. How many times LeBron done went completely ape shit and his team has still come up short and they feel
It's LeBron's.
well, damn, Jordan would have, man. You know what I mean? So I just think he toting a real fine line, man. So I wish I was the section where I don't want this to come across as
No, I
that we
understand.
hate Caitlin Clark segment, because I'm not a hater.
We're
I actually
not.
like Caitlin Clark,
Definitely.
but
Since we're just talking about the opposites and how we foresee her career unfolding. That's all, man. Like everybody else is doing. We're not haters. We calling her a star now. Will she be unlocked into a superstar? That's all we're trying to figure out.
they're gonna have to get another coach in there because this guy, I don't know if he know what he's doing.
Lady.
Oh, woman, and see, and there you go. I don't even know. I'm not respecting the game. I do it with somebody who wasn't doing it, and I don't even want to say she ain't doing her job, but what I am saying is, with a player of that caliber, you gotta really come with it in regards to being a coach, having a scheme ready, and then it'll force you to go draft players that can fit a scheme, right? And all of the little bullshit coaching that go on in the WNBA, if you don't have a scheme, it will get exposed, right? Because I don't think Caitlin Clark is just this pick and roll guru. I don't want to see her running pick and roll all game. I need some off ball,
Small ball,
action.
yeah, dog.
I need some backdoor screens, some pin downs.
You hitting, like you preaching, bro. Like put her in a position to where like all she got to do is catch it and let it fly at least 8 times a game. The pick and roll,
bare minimum.
The pick and roll that's gonna continuously get trapped. She gonna keep having those turnovers of people sticking their hands, shooting the pocket. Though I think the turnovers will come down. We want to see her be great. Like, we want to see her be great.
She does have to master the pick and roll, though. I will say that.
I think she did. Like she makes the right basketball plays more times than not. It's just players are faster, so like you got to be a little bit sharper or quicker. Getting to like certain passes or certain spots on the floor. As that's just what the learning curve is going to be in the WNBA. But yeah, I think if they don't win soon, I think the viewership starts to come down, and I think with her brand and everything like that, I think that's what helps. Again, she ain't won the glory of the championship, but considering who she is and what her team is like, and her setting her own individual personal records, I think that helped her, be a winner, though she never got to the complete mountaintop. But yeah, if they don't win, I see that viewership coming down in the next 3 years of all that it's accumulated over the past couple of months. Again, her WNBA debut averaged 2.1 million views, most in 20 years, and most more views than the WNBA finals last year. And I don't know if it's going to be coaching. I don't know if her game is going to transcend into like her teammates rallying around her for those wins to turn over, or she's going to have to end up getting traded or leaving once her contract is up. I don't know, but interesting enough, I think in the next 4 years, the WNBA is trying to add 4 teams or 6 teams. So that's gonna be interesting in itself. Gotta give it time, obviously, but we're just trying to predict the future early, man. But nah, Caitlin Clark, love what you're doing thus far in the league. Triple salute to you. I
Comments
believe,
back.
huh?
Hopefully we can get the comments back.
Bro, they got everybody and their mama being pitched right now. Detroit, I done seen a handful of names. I'm like, you're not gonna do the obvious? Like, yeah.
We're not gonna bring the comments back with the great Cheryl Swoops. Are you kidding me?
I think that'll help really help viewership. Because that'll have
No, how about we actually bring back a staple within the WNBA history, one of the historic franchises,
And you right, Dacius. You
Tina
bring
Thompson, Cheryl Swoops, all of these greats, bro. Like, I remember going to a Houston Comets game, bro. Like,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That's ticket sales for off the rip. Because they're gonna get the Rockets Comets package. All of Houston's gonna get it.
hey man, it's time.